God, why I'm just finding out that Cardi B and Stefon Diggs just had their first baby. Y'all do know what that mean, right? Child, y'all better act like y'all know what that mean. Baby, that means that Cardi B is not just another one of Stefon Diggs' baby mamas. That means that Cardi B is the baby mama of Stefon Jr. Yes.
Cardi B's emotions went wild after Stefon Diggs hit her with a $50 million surprise, and the whole internet exploded over it. Fans started calling it the most expensive romantic move of 2025. But the real shock came when Cardi's reaction slipped through, raw, intense, and impossible to hide. For days, Cardi had been strangely quiet. No rants, no live streams, no playful shade. She kept telling everyone she was staying focused, but behind the scenes, she was stressing heavy about where things stood with Stefon. People online were whispering about disagreements, long-distance struggles, and trust issues, and she couldn't stop overthinking everything. Then, out of nowhere, at 2:47 a.m., her phone lit up with a short message from Stefon. Wear something elegant. Be ready by 7 p.m. Don't ask questions. That message hit her like a shockwave. Was he ending things? Was he about to propose? Was this some intense conversation she wasn't ready for? She didn't know what to expect at all. She slipped into a white silk gown, hands shaking, heart pounding, and stepped into the sleek black car sent to pick her up. The whole moment felt too serious, like something major was waiting just ahead. The driver stayed silent the entire ride. Not a greeting, not a clue. Cardi kept watching the city fade behind them until she suddenly realized they were leaving New York completely. Her pulse jumped as the car rolled toward a private terminal glowing under the night lights. Every second felt heavier, sharper, more intense. When she stepped out of the car, her breath caught. She could feel something huge coming, and it made her chest tighten with nerves and excitement. A luxury jet waited on the runway, glowing under sparkling lights, covered in roses and shining with a huge banner that said, "For Bel Khalis." Cardi B stopped in her tracks, completely stunned. Stefon had rented an entire private jet just for her, and the whole thing looked like a scene from a movie. A flight attendant stepped forward and handed her an envelope sealed in gold with one message inside. "Just trust me, Stefon." When she walked onto the jet, there was no crew, no noise, nothing. Just a trail of candles, soft music floating through the cabin, and a recording of Stefon's voice saying, "I know you've been hurting. I know you question me sometimes. Tonight, I want to show you how much you mean to me." Cardi covered her face, whispering, "Oh my God, what is he doing?" When the jet landed in the Bahamas on a private island she had never even heard of, Cardi stepped out and saw Stefon Diggs waiting, dressed fresh and holding a small velvet box. But that wasn't the big shock. Behind him were 5 massive shapes covered in black cloth, each one towering over the sand. Stefon gently took her hand and said, "I didn't come into your life to play with you, Cardi. I came to protect you, to love you, and to give you what nobody ever gave you." Then he snapped his fingers. The staff pulled the covers away, and Cardi gasped so hard she almost lost her balance. The surprises were unreal. A $12 million oceanfront mansion built in her favorite modern Caribbean style, a $6 million recording studio named Bel Khalis Sound House, a $3 million wardrobe villa filled with her most iconic outfits displayed like museum pieces. Everything sparkled under the island's sun like it was made for a movie moment. Then came the next shock, a $190 million luxury yacht titled Forever Bel Khalis, shining like a floating mansion under the sun. And right beside that, a $10 million trust fund set up for her family, all organized under the name Cultures and Waves. The total value hit $50 million, every part of it dedicated to Cardi and her children. Cardi didn't say a single word, not one. The woman known for bold energy stood frozen as her tears poured down her face uncontrollably. The moment was so intense it felt unreal. Stefon stepped in gently and wiped her tears himself, telling her, "You deserve stability. You deserve safety. You deserve someone who puts you first. Let the world talk. All I want is you standing right here with me." Cardi's whole body shook as she cried into his chest, overwhelmed. She looked up and asked through tears, "Why would you do all this for me?" Stefon held her cheeks, his voice cracking for the first time as he said, "Because you've been hurt your whole life, Cardi, and I want to be the first man who loves you without conditions." Cardi broke down even harder, lashes soaked, voice trembling as she whispered, "Steph, nobody's ever done something like this for me." When leaked footage hit the internet, fans couldn't believe what they were seeing. Cardi looked vulnerable, trembling, emotional in a way the world rarely sees. The moment the story dropped, social media went into full meltdown. Twitter X people were posting nonstop, "Steph Diggs just dropped $50 million on Cardi B." And another person joked, "Offset somewhere punching the air." Others called it billionaire behavior. TikTok millions of edits of Cardi crying on the island went viral instantly, with people calling it the most dramatic romantic gesture of the decade. Instagram celebrities were jumping in. Rihanna posted, "This is wild. She deserves happiness." Lizzo added, "Steph raising the bar to the moon." Nicki Minaj didn't say anything, but she viewed every single related post. Offset even liked a post, then unliked it 2 minutes later, which sparked even more chaos online. Later that night, while the yacht rocked gently under the moonlight, Cardi finally let out the truth she'd been holding in. She leaned close to Stefon and whispered, "I'm scared. Steph, I'm scared to trust again." Her voice cracked like she was fighting every emotion at once. Stefon held her hands softly and told her, "Then let me earn it every single day. Not with money, but with consistency, patience, and love." Cardi cried again, but this time the tears felt different. Calmer, almost like she finally felt seen in a way she hadn't in years. Then came the moment nobody expected. Cardi made a bold move. She stayed on that island with Stefon for 4 full days, completely offline, no posts, no comments, no updates. When she finally returned, she dropped a simple caption, "He loves me for real." No makeup, no filters, just her red, swollen eyes from crying. And the internet blew up instantly. Blogs everywhere were starting declaring, "Steph Diggs redefines modern love." Others posted, "Cardi B finally finds someone who sees her heart." It was chaos across every platform and people couldn't stop talking about it. Stefon didn't try to buy her love. He gave her security, trust, and a clear future, the kind of things Cardi always struggled to believe she truly deserved. Her emotional reaction wasn't about the money at all. It was about finally feeling protected, chosen, understood, and genuinely loved. And for Cardi, that meant more than the entire $50 million surprise. This story was built perfectly for a long, dramatic, internet-shattering YouTube voiceover, one that dives into every emotional twist and every wild moment of Cardi B's emotional reaction after Stefon Diggs' $50 million surprise. It all began in the early hours of a quiet Tuesday morning, before the blogs woke up, before the shade pages started posting, before fans even opened their eyes. A private chain of events between Cardi B and Stefon Diggs started unfolding, setting up one of the most unbelievable romantic stories the internet had ever seen. What happened next shook the entertainment world straight to its core, and nobody, not fans, not blogs, not even Cardi, saw it coming. Everything started with a secret that grew in silence. For weeks, Stefon Diggs had been moving in a whole different way. Calm, locked in, and way more private than usual. Even his teammates noticed something strange. He'd stay late after practice, slip into mysterious phone calls, and leave the facility in dark-tinted SUVs instead of his usual flashy cars. Meanwhile, Cardi, sharp, emotional, and always tuned in, felt it instantly. One night she whispered to her sister Hennessy, "Something is off with him. He acting different, like he hiding something." Hennessy just shrugged and told her, "Maybe he planning something for you, sis." But Cardi shook her head and said, "No, you don't get it. This energy is different." And she had no idea how right she actually was. Behind the scenes, Stefon had been quietly building one of the most personal, astonishing surprises anyone has ever put together for someone they cared about. This wasn't about jewelry, fancy cars, or even an island. It was deeper. He was creating a $50 million life-changing investment designed to secure Cardi, her kids, her family, and their future for life. Lawyers, banks, developers, and financial experts had been working for almost 2 months just to set everything up. Only someone fully committed, or ready to commit for real would ever take on something this massive. Then came the invitation. Cardi had just wrapped a long campaign shoot in LA. She was exhausted, makeup half off, hair wrapped in a silk bonnet, ready to shower and knock out. Suddenly, her assistant burst into the room, out of breath. "Cardi, Steph sent a jet. He said it's urgent. You gotta come now." Cardi frowned hard and asked, "Urgent for what?" Her assistant shook her head and said, "He said you'll see when you get there." Cardi wasn't a fan of surprises, but something in her chest told her she needed to go. Within an hour, she was on a private jet heading to an undisclosed location, heart racing the whole time. When the plane landed, everything outside was pitch black. No paparazzi, no crowd, no noise, just tight security waiting quietly. Cardi stepped out in a long black hoodie, hair still wrapped, confusion all over her face, as she tried to figure out what she had just stepped into. Cardi stared into the darkness and whispered, "What is this?" A luxury Sprinter rolled up, smooth and silent, and the driver simply said, "Nizomenzar, he's waiting for you." No details, no clues, nothing. They drove for 45 long minutes along a quiet coastline until the Sprinter stopped in front of a huge iron gate. Cardi's breath hitched because behind that gate sat a brand new 40-acre private waterfront estate she had never seen in her life. Stefon Diggs stood in the center of the driveway, dressed in all black. No smile, no hype, none of his usual confidence. He actually looked nervous. Cardi stepped out slowly, eyes wide, and asked, "Steph, what is this? Why am I here?" He swallowed hard, walked up to her, took her hand gently, and whispered, "Come inside." They walked through the grand entrance, every step echoing across marble floors and glass walls glowing under soft lights. But when they reached the middle of the mansion's huge glass atrium, Stefon stopped. He reached into his pocket, pulled out something, and handed it to her. It wasn't a ring. It was a folder. Cardi frowned, opened it, and froze. Her mouth dropped open, her hands shook like she couldn't control them, and her heartbeat was so loud it felt like it filled the whole room. "Steph, what is this? What am I looking at?" she whispered. He looked her straight in the eyes and said, "It's yours." Inside the folder were official documents confirming a full transfer of ownership, the entire $50 million estate, the land, the house, the rights, the royalties, plus a separate $10 million trust dedicated to her children, all in her name. Not shared, not partial, hers alone. Cardi's breath caught in her throat as she whispered, "Stefon, why would you do this? Why me?" He stepped closer, placed his hand softly on her cheek and said, "Because you deserve stability long before you ever even met me. The world sees the superstar, Cardi B, but I see Belkis, the mother, the fighter, the woman who loves with her whole heart. And I need you to know, even if we weren't together, even if we weren't perfect, even if you walked away tomorrow, you and your kids will never struggle a day in your life." Those words shattered her completely. Not the mansion, not the trust, not the estate, but the intention behind it. Cardi covered her face with both hands and collapsed into his chest, shaking as she cried uncontrollably, overwhelmed with emotions she couldn't hold back for a second longer. Cardi could barely breathe through the tears spilling down her face as she whispered, "You don't have to do this. Nobody has ever loved me like this." Stefon held her close, keeping his voice low and steady as he told her, "You've poured so much into everybody. It's time somebody poured into you." From a distance, staff watched quietly, stunned. They had never seen Cardi cry like that. Not the Grammy night tears, not the tour stress tears, not the drama-filled tears. These were different, softer, deeper, almost disarming. It was like every emotion she had tucked away for years. The heartbreak, the betrayal, the disappointment, the fear of opening her heart again, finally broke loose all at once. She held on to Stefon like she was finally letting her body rest after carrying the weight of the world for too long. After a long moment, she whispered with a trembling voice, "Why me, Steph? Why do you love me this much?" Stefon looked right into her eyes and answered, "Because you're worth more than you'll ever admit to yourself." When she calmed down a little, he guided her to the backyard, and Cardi stopped yet again. Floating on top of the infinity pool was a candlelit platform made especially for that night. Hundreds of white roses, glowing lanterns, a violinist playing soft music, and a private chef preparing dinner on the spot. Cardi's voice cracked as she whispered, "This is too much stuff. I don't deserve all of this." He smiled softly and told her, "You deserve more than this. But tonight, I wanted to start somewhere." As the night came to an end, Stefon didn't propose, didn't make any wild request, didn't push anything. Instead, he made her a quiet promise, a promise to show up, stay real, and love her with consistency, not pressure. A promise to be the steady place she had never truly been given before. And that's where this incredible story leaves us. A night filled with raw emotions, unexpected honesty, and a kind of love that felt bigger than any headline or price tag. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Cardi B's emotional reaction after Stefon Diggs' $50 million surprise, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends, and drop a comment below telling me what shocked you the most. I'll catch you in the next video.
But I respect it, right? Because she just gave birth to your baby. The least you can do, at least right now, is play along with it. Throw some nice little